I want you guys to know that I am using a wide format eco-solvent printer. I get asked that a lot. So if you do not have a wide format eco-solvent printer, you are going to be limited to whatever your print capacity is. So that means if your printer is 8.5 by 11, the biggest box or biggest rectangle that you can do is going to be 8.5 by 8.5. If you have a 13 by 19, that means the biggest rectangle you'll do is a 13 by 13, so on and so forth. Now, I don't recommend printing all the way to the edge because sometimes the borderless printing, it'll still print with the border around it. And then, of course, you just want to give yourself room to cut and maneuver. So I always say bring it in about a 1/4 inch or a 1/2 inch to be safe, okay? That is just my recommendation. So for my printing style, I am going to print all the way to the edge. But just be mindful of how your borderless printing acts if you're going to print this at home, or if you decide to outsource through like CVS and such. Just make sure you know that if they're going to print all the way to the edge, or if it's going to have that border, because the border may make it smaller than what it actually is. All right, so I am not going to go over on how to design in a rectangle. I don't think that that's necessary. But what you want to do is change this from pixels to inches, and we are going to do remember, whatever your print max is. So I am doing 14-inch rectangles. So of course I would do 14 by 14, hit create a new design. And then I would design my rectangles going forward, so on and so forth. So I'm just using this for an example. Let's just say we have this image of Bluey. This is my design. It's 14 by 14. I will go to share, download, and I'm downloading this as a PNG. I do like to turn this portion of it up and hit download. Then what I would do is, because this is going to take a little bit of math, okay? Don't let me lose you. Do not let me lose you. Because we know I want to print 2 at the same time. So if we're looking at this right here, okay, these are both 14 by 14 inch squares. So what we want to do is so much easier, because I want to print 2 at a time. I want to do one panel, knock it down. I don't want to have to cut this into 4 different pieces. I'm going to try to work with 2 pieces and cut some of my time down that it takes to complete the project, okay? So what we would do in this instance is I did some math. So I went to custom size, and I knew that because my height is 14, the height does not change, okay? But because there's 2 of them, I need to add double this to make it 28, okay? So that means if you are doing a 10-inch square, you're going to do 10 here, okay? And then this is going to be 20. If you do a 15-inch, okay, the height doesn't change. This is going to become 30, because this will allow 2 of them to fit across, because we're actually trying to like make the most and do it as fast as we can, but still giving good quality. So my rectangle was 14 by 14. And so I have a 28-inch width, and you would hit create a new design, and that's what you see here. So from that same image that we had earlier, I took my image and I stretched this out to the 14 by 14. And I did the same here for the 14 by 14. So this is actually going to give me 2 rectangles, or half of my cube right here. And then of course, this line right here is perfect, because now I know where to cut. And so I did that both times, okay? So this is nothing but 14 by 14. Again, if yours is 14 by 14, you would do 28 by 14. If it's 10 by 10, it's 20 by 10, so on and so forth. And then what we do is we are going to take this out again, and we're going to go to share, download, and then I'm going to save them one at a time. So if you want to name your project, go up here to name your project. And then we're going to go to share and then download, and we're doing 1 page at a time. So if you want to do, I don't know, room 1 or cube 1, cube 2. These particular images are available for sale. They will be on my website. They are instant download. I will say I did have to stretch some of them out. They will look exactly as they're posted, guys. So make sure you read the product description. You do not have permission to resell them as plain images, but you can put them on backpacks and notebooks and so on and so forth, okay? So we're gonna go to CVS photo, and we're gonna do the 16 by 20 repositionable posters. Now the downside to this, or the drawback to this, doing it this way is, one, this price is not always this price. And then two, you are limited, because remember, our maximum that we can get from this would be a 10 by 10, okay? Because it's half of this, and it's still gonna give us room. And that means we're changing the orientation. So I'm in Canva, and I have a 16 by 20, and I'm gonna take my image here. And then I also have on this screen is my 20 by 16. And I'm gonna take this here. So we are in the 16 by 20 image. If I max this out, you'll see my height is only 8 inches, meaning these cubes are only 8 inches. However, the bonus to this is that I can actually get 2 on the same page, meaning this is one completed cube if you're not doing the top portion piece, okay? And then here, if we go to the 20 by 16, I'm able to get a 10 by 10. Okay, remember we're going by height. So this is 10 by 10. I'm getting 2, but I'm going to spend more money out because I have to account for the extra space. So on this one, we will have to add a page and then put the second one on. Now, again, if you decide to split these up, you can make them larger. But once you do that, remember you are paying for the price per sheet that's printed. In that, I mean, that's not, to me, it's not very cost effective to do it that way. But if you want to make them bigger, then you would just maximize your sizes and not do the 2 on 1 page with the split. But now that you've saved your image as your 10 by 10, and I'm only showing you guys this so that you know exactly, of course, how to lay it out. Again, do as you please, but this is our 20 by 16. We're going to go over to CVS photo, and right now the repositionable posters are 16 by 20, but remember we changed the orientation, and they're $5. Do not always account for them being $5, guys. The original price is about $31.99. And so we're going to go to full photo. We're going to choose glossy, and these are available for same day printing, meaning you can pick it up that same day. Now, the next thing that we want to do is you're going to go to get photos, and you're going to go to my computer. Once you go to my computer, you will select your image, and then we're going to place this image inside of no thanks. And I'm going to click on this. And so as you see, it's kind of cut off. Okay, but we don't want it to be that way. So we're going to go to orientation. And there we go. We're going to flip it. And then that's how you are going to proceed to checkout. So I'm not going to walk you through the whole checkout. You're going to go review and buy, put in where your location is, schedule the time for pickup, so on and so forth. Okay. So let's move on now. So we went over the sizes. We went over a little bit of the designing. I do offer these prints as well because I know you will be limited on the 10-inch. So if you are wanting to do bigger prints, I will do the 14 by 14, and I will do each side of the panel at $8 a piece. So that's $8 for side 1, $8 for side 2, and then I will charge $4 for if you want the top and bottom. So that's the way that it'll be priced, plus the price of shipping is still going to be cheaper, especially once this sale is off, and if you want larger prints. So I'll do anything up to 14 inches. I have a board just protecting my tablecloth here. For this part, you are either going to use a little bit of Loctite. I cannot vouch for any other spray adhesive, but if you use something before and you like the way it works, by all means use it. And then we also have some scissors. Just making sure, okay, you guys can see. We also have scissors, an X-Acto knife or a razor, and a hot glue gun for those areas that really don't want to stick well. So, and you also will need like a straight edge, a ruler. I don't know where my ruler is at, so I'm using an old piece of acrylic. It will be just fine. And then you're going to need foam board. I am using foam board from Walmart. Make sure you get the one with the blue at the bottom, the blue label. Not this one, because this one is $3, but the one with the blue at the bottom. This is like a teal color. That one is actually 98 cents. I do not like the ones from Dollar Tree. I don't like any other foam board but this one. If you use any other one, your box tear up, I'll be like, I told you so. But do whatever you want. I specifically really hate the black one. So anyways, here are the prints. We're gonna start with this here. And again, guys, if you are able to print this at home, right? You have the print capacity. You can use photo paper or you can use cardstock. So we want to make sure, for the most part, you want to keep this at the straightest of the straight, meaning we don't want to do this because it's going to have us to do additional cuts. So we want to make this as easy as possible and align this with the top of this board at the edge the best way that we can, so we don't have to cut off too much. Okay, if you have something like you want to put on a notebook here to hold it, whatever, I like to use a little bit of Loctite spray, and I fold this back and just spray a little bit, and then I use glue, hot glue gun, for the rest of it. So we're gonna do that, and mine is of course gonna go all over the place. Mine is not liking me today. There we go, something like that. And I like to line it, and that's it. And then I use the hot glue gun because my Loctite it doesn't want to lock too tight. Okay, so we're gonna do that, and then we will come back. So all you're doing is either hot gluing, Loctite, whatever your adhesive is, to the board, and all right. So next thing you want to do is, whatever your straight edge is, do not judge me. Okay, I'm doing what works for me, do what works for you. So you will take your straight edge, and then you are going to use that and your ruler or your X-Acto knife, your razor, and you're just going to cut off or cut around this like so. So this next part, what we do is we take, and we're gonna do what is called scoring. So that's the good thing about doing it this way, is because we don't have to worry about where the midline is. I'm gonna take my hot glue gun. I just say, make sure this is laid down all the way. You don't need a whole bunch of glue because we don't want these little flyaway pieces, and we don't want too many like bumps and ridges. So that's why using a Loctite first and then going back over those parts with the glue gun, in my opinion, is better. All right, so next here, and we're gonna do what's called scoring. Scoring means we do not go all the way through. I want it to be as flat as possible, that's better. And then I'm gonna go along where this line is, and I'm going through, but not all the way through. And for some reason, I have to do it this way on this side. But we're going through and not all the way through. And I love that we have that split because it gives us, so I'm gonna go, I'm not going all the way through. And so now it's scored, okay? And that is how we do the first side, and we're gonna repeat all of those steps. I want you to go back through your edges here, kind of make sure nothing is pulling up or pulling off, and then you're going to we're gonna work on the bottom pieces next. But for this part here, for the top piece, guys, all I did was cut one piece out and then did another piece for the bottom. Just cut around it. I didn't record that part because the process is exactly the same. And so now we have our two pieces. And all we're gonna do is, because we're making a box, is we are going to just hot glue. I like to make sure mine's on the outside, but we're gluing our box together.
I like to do all my gluing at the same time because sometimes you will have gaps and spaces and you will need to maneuver and adjust. So I like to do it piece by piece to see exactly what works for my project, and then how much I need to like either move this up, push this in, whatever the case may be. And so this next part, all you're doing, for those that don't want to do the hinge, is you just put it on top. Oh, that is so much better. All right, so this is the part for the hinge. But if you don't want to do the hinge, it is optional, okay? And if you just make it as a display box, you would just glue this on. And this part here, these are peel and stick hinges, so I just put them on the outside where those two pieces meet. And then I did go back and just put a little bit of glue to give it some more reinforcement. And this is how it turned out, guys. So remember, if you get this video to 10,000 views, I will drop another gate kept tutorial. And as always, thank you for watching. I appreciate you. And if no one told you today, I think you're wonderful.